Welcome back. Tomorrow is the Universal Day of Love, but it may not feel like that for everybody.
In fact, some people are so fed up with the dating scene, they're ready to throw in the towel.
But before you do, let's hear from professional matchmaker and dating coach April Davis. Thanks so much for being here.
Well, thank you for having me.
We've got some great Facebook questions I want to get to in a moment, but first off, just kind of give us a quick rundown. Professional matchmaker, what does that mean specifically?
Well, the way that we work is that we are essentially headhunters, but for people's love lives, and that we get to know who our clients are and understand, who are they looking for and what kind of relationship are they looking for, and then we can go out and find that person. So we have a database of singles that basically anyone can join for free. It's kind of like submitting yourself for a job, putting in your resume, but it's your free profile. And that way we can look and see, okay, does this person fit the profile of who we're looking for? And then we actually meet with them in person and get to know them, get to see kind of their vibe and personality, what are their values, all those things that, are hard to tell from an online profile picture and, what people write about themselves.
I bet a lot of people come to you too thinking, like, where do I meet somebody? I try to put myself out there, but we're all so busy that it's really hard to connect.
Right. And that's just it. In our day and age, people are so used to having tons of options, and there's always bigger, better things out there. And back in the day, you think about it, and people got married for different reasons and why they get married today. And so then it can be really challenging because people think they have like a certain idea and a certain recipe of who they are looking for. And what I try to do is get people to focus on what is it that you want from the relationship and long term, not so much your kind of list of items or pizza toppings, I like to say. It's not a pizza, this is a person, it's not a Build-A-Bear, it's a relationship.
That's great, Coach. And I know so many people, they go into something with a certain paradigm. It's got to be like this, and if it's not, I'm out.
I only like blondes, or I only like brunettes, or they have to be this height.
Right, well, guess what? Everybody's going to turn gray. And, and I always try to remind people, why did Grandma and Grandpa stay together for so long? It wasn't because Grandpa has a smoking hot bod or something. It's because of the core fundamentals of a relationship and why they are such a good complement to each other.
I want to get to some of these Facebook questions and get your thoughts on it. First one that we have is this. My husband passed away 5 years ago, and I want to find someone, but I'm 62 and feel dating is for the younger generation. Any suggestions for finding love over 50?
It's absolutely not for just the younger generation. I mean, everybody wants to have a relationship and have that companion and have that partner in life. And I've had clients as old as 82, and I can do things to go out and try to find that person that's the right fit for him. For instance, he lived downtown Minneapolis, and he wanted to meet somebody that was around there, and he couldn't drive anymore. So what I did was make up flyers, and I put them in all the apartment complexes that cater to older people, and I got a good response.
That's great.
That's creative.
And, there's still online dating. There's websites that cater to the older generation as well. So there's a lot of opportunities. And there's just always events and things that people can do to get out there and meet people more organically as well.
Quickly though, for her, I mean, I think if you've been married for a while, she's 62, you probably haven't been in the dating scene for a while.
Right.
Any tips for her about, hey, this is sort of how to approach it? Maybe if you've been out of the dating scene for 30 years?
Well, I think it's important to take that time initially when you first get out of the relationship to just kind of reestablish who you are and know yourself, and focus on the things that you want to do and who you want to be. And maybe you wanted to always learn a language, or maybe you wanted to always travel somewhere. Go and do those things, and don't be afraid to do it on your own. It just makes you feel that much more confident and better about yourself. So it's important. And then when you are ready to start looking for someone, I think it's really important. I mean, knowledge is very important. So read up on whatever you can. There's so much content out there to learn about relationships and dating. And then put yourself out there. You have to. I mean, a lot of times it's a numbers game. Just being around more other single people, you will eventually be able to meet someone. And then when you are out there, make sure you smile and give people your eyes. Because if you're cold and you're just looking down or just talking to the people that you already know, you're never going to meet anyone.
And 62 is the new 40 anyway.
Exactly.
So. Of course.
Much more from April Davis when we come back. Hi, we're back with April Davis, a professional matchmaker, and we've got one more question from Facebook. Let's get to that one. Christina says, I've been dating this guy for a while. He's sweet, but I don't feel the spark. Should that be a deal breaker? Can a spark build over time? That's a good question.
I hear this a lot from my clients and people that I work with. And they're so focused on the spark or this like bolt of lightning that's supposed to strike them. And you know what? I'm sorry, that's not the case. I mean, and if you think back to all the people that you've ever had a crush on or you've ever liked before, was there always that spark? Probably not. A lot of times people can grow on you, and you know, the more you get to know them and the more you're alongside of them, maybe they grow on you, and you build up that bond. And so the idea of a spark or, you know, the lightning bolt, it's not realistic. And even those people that you do have it with, that doesn't always mean you're going to have the best relationship with them, right?
Exactly.
You know, they talk about chemistry and like, oh, it was so great, but you know what? They maybe don't have the same kind of thoughts around a relationship and what that entails as you do. So that's not exactly what you need to look for to make a long-term relationship.
So do you find that some people are willing, like they go on a date and then they're like, no, they weren't my type, but they're not really giving themselves a chance? Do you recommend like 1 or 2 dates before you hit the road?
I think at least 3, because that first date is just, you know, this is the awkward, you know, you're trying to get to know them. It feels kind of like an interview. And that's why I always suggest that people actually do something on their first date versus feel like they're in an interview and having, you know, like that coffee or drink or dinner date where you're facing each other and you're just awkward, and there might be that awkward silence, or you got food and, you know, and like all those things you have to worry about. So if you go and you do something, like maybe it's mini golf or go for a walk, you're next to each other and you're externally focused. So that way it just takes the pressure off and people feel comfortable and more casual, and they can be themselves.
So as a professional matchmaker and you're trying to match people up, what's the number 1 or 2 things you're looking for going, okay, this is what makes a good match, or what have you seen at least?
You know, I focus on what is it that they're looking for from a relationship, what are their values, you know, a lot of, you know, the backgrounds, the things that are also the intangibles, because just because 2 people say that, oh, I like to golf and, you know, he likes to golf, that doesn't make for a good match. It's about the personality and, you know, the values, how they perceive the world, how they're, you know, how they think about things and their attitude in general. And people don't have to be exactly alike. I mean, opposites do attract. So it's just a matter of finding the right complement to that person.
So if somebody I mean, you live in the Twin Cities area, but anyone in North Dakota could certainly get a hold of you and try to get some help, right?
Yeah,
you probably have helped people here.
Yes, I've had clients in Jamestown. I've even got them in out and by Minot, and I get calls all the time from all along the Bakken region.
Yeah,
so,
oil country.
Right. And you know, they're people that they're looking to, you know, of course, it's just the guy to gal ratio is not very good for the guys out there, and they're looking for some help along those lines, and also South Dakota as well, and of course Minneapolis, Wisconsin area.
Nice, yeah. And then we've got your website, cupidscronies.com. It's so easy to get a hold of you, and you know, all it takes is a phone call, right?
Right, 855-62-CUPID.
Nice.
Very nice. Any final words you want to get out there for anyone who's looking for love?
Well, I would just say, you know, get out there. That's really what it comes down to is, you know, put yourself out there, go to those events. There's always some kind of like fundraiser or maybe your church organization or something going on, and they might know somebody, maybe they can introduce you to someone. You never know. A lot of times it is a numbers game unless you have somebody like me that is out there looking too, because, and even so, I have a lot of singles to choose from when I'm looking for somebody for my clients. So it really does come down to finding you know, just putting yourself out there so you can find the one.
You just give them a little extra help, and that's what we all need.
Well, exactly. It truly is. And it's not just help, you know, to meet someone, it's along the way too. So even once you have met that person, make sure you study up and learn about what to do while you're in the relationship, because that's key as well. Just because you think you found the person, your work isn't done. You know, you have to keep working on it.
Yeah, great tips today.
Well, thank you guys.
We'll be right back. Stay close.